Good evening. Welcome to the Corporation of Townsend Postage, November 12th, 2024, Planning Development Advisory Committee meeting by electronic participation and in person at the municipal offices, 7404, Winter Road 34, Puslinch. And we'll call the meeting to order, and there'll be one meeting today. It'll be the Planning Advisory Committee. Will be four consents that we will be reviewing and providing comments to the county's land division committee. Please note that the meeting is video and audio recorded, and all electronic means meetings are uploaded to the municipality's YouTube page. By registering to participate in the meeting by electronic means or consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. So let's do the roll call. Amanda Knight.
Present.
Chris Picard.
Present.
Paul Senta.
Present.
And I, Councilor Johnson Poulos, I'm present as well. And to my right is our Secretary Treasurer Lynn Banks, and to her right is our township planner, Mehul Safawala. So let's go into the moment of reflection. Okay. Lynn, so would you please read the confirmation agenda, please?
That the committee approves the November 12th, 2024 PDAC agenda circulated.
Have a mover, seconder. Paul, Amanda, all in favor? Great, thank you. Disclosure of conflict of interest, we have any? No?
No.
Great, thank you. Okay, delegations, I assume we don't have any, Lynn, unless you tell me otherwise.
That's correct.
And consent agenda, would you please read that out, please?
That the Planning and Development Advisory Committee approves the minutes from the meeting held on October 8th, 2024.
Okay, we have a mover and a seconder. First move, second Amanda, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, so we move into the notice of public meetings and hearings. Lynn, do you have any, would you like to advise us of?
Sure. There are three going to public meeting on December 18th. The addresses are 1873 Town Line Road, 86 Farm Road, and 4438 Watson Road South.
So those are going to the
December 18th, public meeting.
November.
Oh, yeah, my apologies. It's November 27th. I
I
believe.
think 27th,
Yeah.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And
Sorry about that.
so, and when is the next line division committee meeting for anybody interested?
So that will be December 5th at the County of Wellington.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. So, we'll move into the line division items. And let's go to the first one, service application B95-24, estate of Stanford Snyder, 44291 Moncton Road 35, Puslinch, Ontario. Proposed service is 40.2 meters frontage and 106 meters deep, or 4.4 hectares. Vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Retained parcels 38 hectares with 286 meter frontage. Existing proposed architectural use with existing house, barn, and 3 outbuildings. And again, I'd like to point out that this committee mandates only to provide comments to the county's land division committee when it considers the matter for approval on December 5th. So would you please have the agent or panelists join us to present your application?
Yeah, present, Mr. Chairman.
You have to be permitted to.
Yes, they are.
He's in the meeting.
Yes. The first agent can present their case.
Mr. Cox, are you there? Yeah, I see you're muted there.
That better? Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can. It seems to have an echo now. You there?
Yes, I'm here. You can hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you have an echo.
Can't explain that any more fully. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Should I proceed with my presentation?
Sure, let's try, let's go ahead and try to proceed, yeah.
Okay, the subject application is for a 0.4 hectare or 1 acre severance and a retained parcel of 38 hectares. The property is part lot 16, concession 2, which is off of Wellington County Road 35. It's a rural residential lot severances, and there have been no severances from the property since it was acquired by the current owners in the 1980s. So they're meeting the county requirement for both ownership and no previous severances since 2005. In terms of specific comments that I will address with the committee, with regard to minimum distance separation, we worked with the Wellington County Planning Department to evaluate MDS for the property. First of all, in terms of the type of MDS application to be applied, and it was determined that it would be a type A evaluation. The biggest operation is actually owned by the owners, which is their cow-calf and beef feeder operation on the subject property, which has an MDS requirement of 301 meters setback to the proposed new lot, and the actual setback provided is 356 meters. We also evaluated the McCaig property on the opposite side of Wellington County Road 34, which based on the farm data sheet that we received has an unoccupied barn capable of housing livestock, and the review that was done for that application also indicated that MDS was met. Further, at the request of the county, we looked at a small horse operation that is on the opposite side of County Road 35, and it is almost 500 meters removed, but the MDS requirement was fairly minor for that operation. So again, all MDS requirements are met by the application to the best of our knowledge, and that will be confirmed through the county's ongoing review. I note that GRCA had not commented when the planning staff comment was done, and have now commented that they have no objection to the application. Excuse me. As well, there were no issues from internal departments and or source water protection. We've reviewed the conditions that are proposed for the application in the township planning report, and we have no concern or objection with those applications. And based on that, would answer any further questions that we are able to. Thank you.
Mr. Cox? Mr. Cox,
Yes,
would you please state your name and address for the record?
John Cox, J.L. Cox Planning Consultants, 17 Spencer Crescent, Guelph, Ontario.
Okay, so Lynn, were there any agency comments received?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we had some comments received. So the Township's Fire Department, Bylaw and Public Works Departments had no comments or concerns. Township's Building Department also had no concerns, but they asked that the following condition be added to the consent application, and that condition is that the applicant provide development site plan to the satisfaction of the township of Coastlands, denoting the existing, if applicable, and proposed driveway, buildings, well, an on-site septic field locations to ensure the site will accommodate development of a single dwelling residence. Provide dimensions to illustrate compliance and setback requirements. And I'll just mention that this is a standard condition that the Township's Building Department, CBO, has asked to be put on all consent applications in order to make it easier to clear the servicing condition. The GRCA has advised that they have reviewed the above noted consent application to sever a lot for the proposed rural residential use, and they have no objection to the proposed consent application. And they also advise that they have reviewed the application, and information currently available at the office indicates the retained parcel contains wetlands and the regulated allowance adjacent to the wetlands. The lines to be severed do not contain any natural hazard features of interest to the GRCA. They further noted that the portion of the retained parcel are designated part of the Greenland system in the County of Wellington Official Plan 2024. And due to the presence of the features noted above, portions of the retained parcel are regulated by the GRCA, and any future development or other alteration within the regulated area will require prior written approval from the GRCA in the form of a permit pursuant to Ontario Reg 41-24. They also noted that the consent application proposes to sever a lot for future rural residential uses. And they noted that the proposed lot is outside of the regulated area, and it is understood the agricultural uses on the retained parcel will continue. So as such, GRCA staff do not anticipate any impacts on the natural hazard features as a result of the application.
Okay, so then were there any registrations received to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there are not.
Okay, and there were no written comments received?
No, Mr. Chair, there are not.
Okay, so again, I'll reiterate, if there are any attendees watching the hearing and would like to give comments or questions regarding the application, their comments, their comment can be heard at the Land Division Committee as noted earlier on December the 5th. So let's go around the table. Any questions or comments, Amanda?
Nothing from me, Mr. Chair.
How about you, Chris?
And it might be the chief building official wants to modify his standard requirements. The proximity to the well and septic on the adjacent residential lots, it might be useful in general in submissions to know that we aren't creating a proximity issue, depending on where their septic tank and well, septic field and well is. So I'm curious what other members of the committee think, but
Typically, when drawings are being presented, they should identify the adjacent well, property owner, adjacent wells and septic and
Yeah.
close proximity. So that's something we can ask staff to look into, make sure it's all shown on future drawings.
Also for this specific application, we do have the information ready if a committee member wants to see it.
Can you flash it on the screen?
This is the adjacent properties that we see the well in the back of the house and the septic system in the front lot.
and I think what I'm saying is, if I can elaborate, it's useful to have it dimensioned so that we know that the minimum clearances are met, and we're not creating a health and safety hazard. And that people aren't severing a lot thinking they can do it and then find out later. So they've got a problem.
They've got a septic bed underneath that.
Yeah, or it's too close to the house or other things prevent them. So it's just, again, it's just trying to,
And we can make that a condition.
that was it. Otherwise, no. I understand. Thank you.
Okay, so would you please flash the conditions on?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so. Looks like the standard one. And the second one. Third one. Fourth one. And I guess what we should do, Chris, is add a condition, something along the lines of the septic bed and the well of the adjacent property, the location be identified on the plans
Yes, I would.
to ensure that there is no,
A future conflict.
ensure there's no conflict. Future conflict. In general, we support the application. Okay, so I'd like to have somebody move the conditions as presented there and as amended for the mover. First, second by all in favor? Great, thank you. Moving to the next one, 9.1.2, service application B 90-24, Crowley Bryan, 6890, concession 4, Portsmouth, Ontario. Proposed service is 59.75 meter frontage by 67 meters or 4,000.7 square meters. Part 1 of sketch, existing vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Retained parcels 10.55 hectares with 208.63 meter frontage, existing proposed poultry operation with existing chicken barn, Quonset building and dwelling, part 2 of sketch. So, would the applicant be asked to come forward to make the presentation? Hi, Nancy, we see you there, but you seem to be muted.
I think I'm unmuted now. Is that correct?
Correct, you're good. So would you please state your name now just for the record?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Nancy Shoemaker. I'm the planning consultant for Brian Crowley on this application. The committee members will recall that you saw this a few months ago with respect to an MDS minor variance. The lands are designated secondary agricultural, and the owner has owned this property well beyond 5 years. The previous severance from the property was in 2002. So that means that the owner qualifies for a severance at this time. So as I indicated previously, we've worked with the Conservation Authority in establishing a proper location for the lot, keeping in mind the wetland and the 120 meter setback. And in reviewing the comments, I don't see that anyone has opposed the application or provided negative comments. So we're looking to the committee for support this evening of the application.
Thank you. Lynn, were there any agency comments received?
Yes, Mr. Chair, there were. The township's bylaw, fire department, public works, and building department had no concerns with building as requesting that we add that new standard clause to the conditions. The GRCA has noted they have no objection to the proposed consent application. They have reviewed the application, and information currently available at their office indicates that retained parcel contains wetlands and the regulated allowance adjacent to the wetlands. The lands to be severed do not contain any natural hazard features of interest to the GRCA. Portion of the retained parcel is designated in the Greenland System Academy of Wellington Official Plan 2024. And due to the presence of the features noted above, a portion of the retained parcel is regulated by the GRCA, and any future development or other alteration within the regulated area will require prior written approval from the GRCA in the form of a permit pursuant to Ontario Reg 41-24. They also note that the consent application proposes to sever a lot for proposed rural residential uses. They noted that the proposed lot is outside of the regulated area noted above, and it's understood that the agricultural uses on the retained parcel will continue. So as such, GRCA staff do not anticipate any impacts on the natural hazard features as a result of the application.
Great. Okay, Lynn, were there any registrants who received?
No, Mr. Chair, there were not.
Okay, any written comments?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So let's go around the table again. So Amanda?
Nothing from me, Mr. Chair, apart from perhaps we modify or add the additional condition that Chris suggested, just adding the distances for the septic and the wells. We're going to be consistent in that way.
I would agree, and I have nothing else. Thank you.
I agree. Yeah, okay, so Would you please put up the conditions?
It seems like Nancy Shoemaker has her hand up.
Sorry?
Nancy Shoemaker has her hand up.
Hi, Nancy, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I don't understand, the condition that's been added. There is, no building on the adjacent property. So there wouldn't be a well and septic, but I don't even understand the purpose of that comment, because any well and septic on an adjacent parcel would have to meet the zoning bylaw regulations in terms of setback. Both in terms
Okay,
of
I
where the
understand
well
what
is
you're
located
saying.
within the property.
We've had in the past severances where the septic bed was very close to the property line and the septic bed had to be relocated. So that's a precedent that we've experienced before. So that's the main reason why one of our members had asked that question,
Okay,
just that that be included. And the fact that the well would be an issue as well. You do not want the new property owner putting a septic bed close to the within 15 meters of a existing well. So that's another issue as well. Certainly it'd be caught up in the by the building department, but if we flag it now, it makes everything smoother when it gets through the building process.
so presumably it won't apply if there's no building.
We'll put it in, and if there's no building, there's not an issue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Nicole, would you please put that up?
I've been going with the
Conditions. So these seem to be the standard conditions we had previously. And you can add the same condition in.
Yes.
Okay, and you just read the condition out.
That the distances for the wells and septic bed located on the neighboring properties,
If applicable, is put in black.
if applicable,
If applicable,
be identified on the plans to ensure there is no future conflict.
that always just clarifies that there's a good faith and there's no issue. Okay, fair enough. So mover and seconder. All move, second, Amanda, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, let's move on to number 3, 9.1.3, substance application B 97-24. Blunchley Elizabeth, 603 Arkle Road, West Lynch, Ontario. Proposed substance is 44-meter frontage by 45 meters or 0.19 hectares. Existing and proposed rural residential use. Existing garage and pool to be removed. Retained parcel is 0.36 hectares with 20-meter frontage. Existing proposed rural residential use with existing dwelling and existing shed to be removed. Okay, we please ask the agent to come forward.
Good evening, thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Haley Keast from Van Harten Surveying, at 2106 Gordon Street.
Thank you.
So I'm here representing our client and the property owner. As you just said, we're asking or seeking a rural residential severance, in the hamlet of Arkell. The subject property has a frontage on Watson Road South and Arkell, so we're looking to sever off the portion that fronts on Watson Road South. And it'll essentially be the same size as the parcel to the south at 844 Watson Road. So there is an existing pool and garage on where the severed parcel will be, so that'll be removed. And a new single detached dwelling is proposed. There is an existing dwelling that will remain on the retained parcel. And access and frontage will be from Arkell Road for that parcel.
We're also proposing a road widening along, a 3 meter wide road widening along, the frontage of the Sudbury parcel on Watson Road. The property is in the hamlet area of Arkell, but the property is zoned agricultural. So we're looking to do minor variances to address a few zoning deficiencies, so there'll be a slightly reduced frontage, and area on the retained parcel and a slightly reduced area of the Sudbury parcel. So we'd be looking to come back to address the deficiencies through a variance. The lots are similar size to a number of properties in the hamlet area, and including the adjacent property to the south. And we think that this severance provides a great infill opportunity, and also creates a more logical lot pattern too. I guess this goes back to the condition that you've been adding to the other ones, but, prior to submitting this application, we, at the request of the town CBO, we did a more thorough review of the septic, or sewage system and safe water supply in the area, just because of the small lot sizes and the number of properties in the hamlet. So we completed, like a preliminary report and plan, which you've been, given, and the township CBO was satisfied with that plan. So, a condition has been added, for a pre-development site plan, just to address that in more detail. But overall, I think we addressed any concerns, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, so Lynn, were there any agency comments received?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Township's Building Department, Fire Department, Bylaw and Public Works Departments stated that they had no concerns or comments with the application. And the GRCA noted that they reviewed the consent application, several of the proposed rural residential use, and that they have no objection to the approval of application B 9724. The subject property does not contain any natural hazards such as water courses, floodplains, shorelines, wetlands, or valley slopes, and the property is not subject to Ontario Regulation 41-24. And therefore, a permission from the GRCA is not required.
Okay, any registrants received to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there were not.
Any written comments?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and let's go around the table. Lynn?
Just a couple of questions from me. So the requirement to remove the existing pool and garage, I'm assuming that's because of lot coverage requirements. The plan is to put a single detached dwelling on the severed lot. You'd have issues with lot coverage.
Yeah, so, I think the location of, I don't know if we show it very well here, but the pool and the garage are kind of where a house would be. So you'd have to demolish that in order to be able to build a new house and to fit the septic on. Yeah.
And presumably the building department, when they're looking at servicing, they're also looking at it through the lens of the zoning bylaw to ensure that they meet not just the ability to have servicing on the property, but that it meets the setback requirements and. So,
Yeah, I think it would be the building code too.
yeah.
For the septic. And well, I guess.
And then lastly, I know I guess it's like a chicken and egg scenario. Some people should choose to do the minor variance application first, some people choose to do the consent application first.
Yeah.
I just want to make some confirmation that, if the committee is supportive of this consent, we're not kind of prejudging any future minor variance application by supporting this consent, but they're looked at individually.
So Chairman, yes, that would be the correct.
For me.
Chris?
The only question I have, because this was very thorough, is there any concern about adding another well within the hamlet? Is there any risk of adversely impacting the quantity or quality of the water that's currently taken from wells by the neighbors?
I am not 100% sure. We have the septic report that John Duffy of our office kind of put together, and I know he does usually talk about the well, but I can't say for certain
I couldn't find a reference to quantity, quality.
Yeah, I don't know if he
He was-
normally would include that information.
This was septic, not supply.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, to be
Okay,
honest.
that's just- Thank you.
Oh,
I'm okay on this, thank you.
okay, so, I hear the concern about the adequacy of the water and the quality of the water. Certainly we can, put that as a condition of the, proponent. Satisfy the township that the water quality and quantity is available for the property
Without adversely affecting the neighbors.
without adverse effect to neighbors.
And I recognize there are, it's a little denser on the other side of Watson Road, but still, at some point, water is a finite resource.
Right,
Maybe it's just a matter of going how deep you want to go.
Yes.
How do you measure that? I'm just curious, like, what do we, what's a tangible, is there some sort of a specific report?
Well, for the septic bed, you'd be looking at things like the permeability of the soil to.
I meant the more like yeah, septic.
Water,
Like, how do you measure, I just don't know how you would, 'cause when we're wording that saying, okay, there's adequate water, like, what is that?
I will leave it up to technical people to
Yeah.
talk about that.
I don't have a technical answer to that. I'm sure it can be answered. I don't know the details.
and I don't know if Andrew would have already looked into that or reviewed it, because I know there was a lot of back and forth for a while. Until we provided this report and then he was satisfied, so I don't know if that's something that,
My
that-
point, yeah, I'm sorry, I guess my point is that, what are we asking the technical people? Like, is he just gonna go there, so, oh, there's water there.
Oh, no, there's a study, to it. You can look at the, depth of the wells adjacent, in the area. Is this person going deeper or that? You can look at the flow rate from the adjacent wells, are they gonna be affected? So, in terms of water quality, you can look at, is the, take tests of adjacent property owners, if they have a water quality problem.
All right,
And if there is any issues with the, water taking there, I'm sure the area, residents will be complaining, say, I got a concern.
yeah. There was a recent severance, and I don't know if the house is built in 2015. I think that was the most recent one that we had seen in this area, so. Yeah, if a new house was built then they would have.
Mr. Chair, can you repeat that?
Okay, but that the proponents satisfy the water quality and quantity to the satisfaction of the township.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so, who would you please put on the conditions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
So I guess the first one's the same. Right, we lost it. Okay, then we got the three conditions there. So apply and receive approval from minor variance for retained parcel. Or reduce lot frontage, apply or receive approval minor variance for retained parcel of reduced lot area. Apply for and receive approval minor variance for several parcel reduced lot area. And then you've I guess we want to put your standing condition.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So we want to put that into as well, the one that Chris mentioned before.
Yep, I've got that captured in our binding form to the county, that distances for the well and septic beds located on the neighboring properties that applicable be identified on the plans to ensure there's no future conflict.
And what is?
To Mr. Chairman, I think we did receive the setbacks requirement and how well they are far away from each other. So if we wanna see that first and then we decide, do we wanna put that condition in? 'Cause
Well, I think it'd be conditioned to satisfy the township and then you guys will look at it anyway, it's it's approved or whatever. But we have to do our due diligence, we didn't see the information, so we have to say what we have to say. And it's gonna come back to staff and check it out.
Makes sense.
All right, so, mover and a second. Chris, second Amanda, all in favor? Good, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Seventh application B 94-24, estate of Stanford Snyder. 339 Downey Road, Postage, Ontario. Proposed severance is 1.6 hectares with 14-meter frontage, existing and proposed rural residential use with two existing dwelling units. Retained parcel is 46.8 hectares with 1,012-meter frontage, existing proposed agriculture use. Okay, would you please have, the applicant make a presentation?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no echo this time, that's good.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name's John Cox, again, of J.L. Cox Planning Consultants at 17 Spencer Crescent in Guelph, Ontario. And this is another application being made by the estate of Stanford Snyder. And this one is for a surplus farm dwelling severance at 339 Downey Road. It's proposing a building envelope of 1.6 hectares. And what is unique about the building envelope is that there are two existing dwellings on the property. The smaller one that you can see on your screen to the front of the property is the original farmhouse for the property. We don't know a date when that was actually constructed. And then to the rear, you have a larger dwelling house that was built by the family in 1966. So there are the two dwellings on the property. The barn that is adjacent to the severed parcel is to be removed, as well as the holding pen that's shown on the severance sketch. The report recommends conditions related to zoning for the frontage and also the two dwelling units that are located on the property, and as well the pre-development site plan that has been noted is now a standard condition of the township. And I note that that will also allow us to confirm that, further confirm that the septic tank, well, etc., are sufficiently removed from the property lines for the parcel that's been created. With the application, we submitted a farm information form that shows that the agricultural holdings of the estate are in total of about 500 acres. So it's part of a substantially larger operation, but they do not want to retain these buildings as part of that farm operation any longer. The only other comments I would make then is that GRCA again indicated it had no concern, as well as the other township agencies and departments. And we have reviewed the conditions that are proposed and do not have a concern with the proposed conditions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. So then, were there any agency comments received?
Yes, Mr. Chair, there were. The township's fire department said that they have no concerns except to remind the applicant to keep the driveway accessible for emergency vehicles, including keeping any tree branches trimmed back to allow for a quick response to the buildings on the property. The building department has asked that the applicant show the location of all the septic systems on site and their distance to the proposed new property line, show the existing well locations and type, and also asked if the holding pen will be demolished, and if not, to provide the distance from the proposed new property line and spatial separation calculations to the holding pen. The township's Bylaw and Public Works Department had no comments or concerns with the application. And the GRCA noted that they have reviewed the consent application to sever for the surplus farm dwelling, and they have no objection to the proposed consent application. They further noted that information currently available at the office indicates that the retained parcel contains a watercourse wetland and the regulated allowance adjacent to these features. They further noted that lands to be severed do not contain any natural hazard features of interest to the GRCA. And advised that a portion of the retained parcel is designated as part of the Greenland system in the County of Wellington Official Plan 2024. And due to the presence of the features noted above, a portion of the retained parcel is regulated by the GRCA, and any future development or other alteration within the regulated area will require prior written approval from the GRC in the form of a permit pursuant to Ontario Reg 41-24. Their last note was that the consent application proposes to sever surplus farm dwelling with existing and proposed rural residential uses. And it's understood that the agricultural uses will continue on the retained parcel and no additional development is proposed at this time. And as such, GRCA staff do not anticipate any impacts on the natural hazard features as a result of this application.
Okay, and were there any registrations received to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there were not.
And any written comments received?
We did not receive any.
Okay, thank you. So let's go around the table. Amanda?
Just a question of clarification. Did you say, John, that it's the intent for the barn on the retained portion and the holding pen to be demolished?
Yes, I did.
And then, yeah, I appreciate seeing the condition for zoning compliance, specifically related to the two dwelling units. This may be a unique property and interested to see how that plays out, but that's all from me.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
It's a comment more than a question, but you've shown the septic tanks, but not the fields. And of course, it's the fields that are in some ways the risk. So I think that ultimately we had our condition as we did on the other ones, that will get captured. But it's an unusual shaped property. I'm going to be very curious to see that when the septic fields and tanks need to be replaced in accordance with the current standards, that the site actually accommodates that. Because if it's a 1966 house and it's a 1966 septic field, that was a much different world.
So are you proposing any specific comments you wish to make? Conditions?
No, I don't think so. I'm just making the comment, but I don't think there's a condition there.
Okay.
I'm open to what my colleagues think about, do we want to see that demonstrated? But I personally don't think it's necessary at this point, but it's an owner's risk and it could cost them a fair bit to do a very expensive special septic system in the future.
Good. Paul?
To Chris' point, my comment was around the shape a little bit. I was, so just really a comment. The shape to me is a bit odd, but then it could also tie into some of these septic issues for sure.
Typically, when they sever off a property and the rest is strictly agricultural, it is odd shape, and the intent is to squeeze down the severance as much as possible to retain as much agricultural land as possible. I've seen several of these already, and they're very angular as this is. It's basically squeeze it in. I've been at one land division committee where they were more liberal, and the committee members, a lot of them are farmers, ex-farmers. They said, nope, we're gonna squeeze this and squeeze that. So that's the general intent, is to make it as close, as tight as possible by, but still retain the necessary clearances. Okay, so, Lynn, conditions.
Okay, I believe Mr. Chairman was going to pull them up on the screen.
Sure. Okay, so we got the first one the same. The second one is minor variance for several parcels of reduced frontage. To rezone retained parcel for the prohibit a residential zone and apply and receive approval for several parcels in two separate dwelling units. And the only comment, Amanda, I may have is the right now our zoning permits a ARU on the property, so we'll see how that fits in. Perhaps the building is second residential unit is further away than what's required, so they may need a required, like minor variance for that as well. Okay, so we have that and that, to remove the barn and drive shed located. So did you just add that in? Was that always there, number 6?
So
Yeah, that one was added
Okay,
after the fact.
okay,
And Mr. Chair, that was based on building comments.
okay.
Then we're going to add that the distances for the wells and septic beds located on the neighboring properties that will be identified on the plans to ensure there's no future conflict.
Okay,
And did you want the water quantity and quality?
no.
Okay, not on this.
It's just not a new building, it's not a small lot, it's not a small lot, I see that being, like that was a ham. Okay, so any questions or comments? So we basically support the application and, let's go ahead, need a mover and second. Moved by Chris, seconded by Paul, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, 9.2 zoning bylaw amendment applications. None,
Mr. Chair, nothing at this time.
staff reports,
None,
correspondence,
none.
new business, anybody have any new business? No, okay, resolution for the adjournment.
That the Planning and Development Advisory Committee hereby adjourns at 7:46 PM.
Mover. Amended, second Chris, all in favor, great, thank you. Good stuff.